Are we started? That's,
Oh yeah.
oh, hi everyone. Fantastic. You can tell that I'm used to being on the other side of this because I'm saying, are we started yet? So I am Cheryl Piper and I am here with Stephen Healey, and this is our second show. And it is, well, what we're going to be talking about today is how are you describing your life online? We just thought that would be an interesting subject to talk about. So, when you think about how you're describing your life online, you know, and it does depend on the type of show that you're doing. And so we are really looking for feedback and your thoughts on this, because are you describing your life online in a positive way that is really kind of leading you in the direction that you want from doing these live shows? Or are you describing your life in a negative way and just saying just about anything that you feel like saying, and then wondering why you're not really getting what you want? So, what do you think, Stephen?
I think that the most powerful thing that you can do on any show to attract people to watch and listen is to smile. And it's as simple as that. If you start your show in a positive mood with a laugh and a smile, then people are going to be drawn in. And I mean, there are types of shows where you wouldn't smile if it's a serious topic, for example. I'll take that. But in general, if you're running a show which is a chat show where you're talking to other people, then you want to get everybody in the right mood. So start the show with a smile and go down that road. It's much preferable to starting with a frown, because the thing is, about as hosts of the show, what we do is contagious. If we frown, then everybody watching will frown. If we smile, then people can't help themselves because they will smile as well,
Well, and
we
they're
think.
feeling that. That's beautiful. They're feeling us through this live video. It's not like we have to be standing in front of them for them to feel what it is that we're projecting out to the world and to them. And so that's kind of what we're talking about here with what is it that you're describing and what's that feeling that you're putting out to people. And so I agree with you. Starting off with a smile is fantastic, and smiling as often as you can. Oh, Christopher's saying absolutely smile. That's absolutely true, because people feel that they want to be pulled in and be part of what you're doing. And so I know with my shows, I have a couple different shows that I do a week, and you have many, Stephen. You know, my goal is always to move in that positive direction and put that positive energy out there and create that positive momentum for people
Mm.
so they can see the possibilities and what they can do and be, and make that happen in their life, rather than just talking about my woes all the time, and everything that's going wrong in my life, and just throwing it all out there. And I know there are people who do that, and some people, they're looking for things like that, I guess. I mean, can we talk about that a little, maybe?
Yes, surely, surely. I mean, there's a definite need to actually find an audience which resonates with what you're saying and to talk about problems. And that can be cathartic and that can help people. But if you're not running a self-help show, let's call it that,
Yeah.
then you do need to reach out and be positive and attract your audience in. I mean, people don't watch television or live video to be miserable, because yes, I just it's something I don't quite understand, that you would actually draw people in by telling them about your woes, of involve them in your life, because the only, well, I'm going to speak here, the only person that can actually solve your problems is you.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. And so let's start and say, what is good to share online?
Would you like to take that, or me?
I I'm easy. I'm just gonna start it and just say positive things, but over to you.
Positive things, absolutely. And whatever it is that your show is about. Like, I'll just use myself as an example because
Sure.
that's easy. I don't have to think then. It's just me. Like this week, because my show, Heart and Mind Conversations with Cheryl Piper, is Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 1 o'clock. And so on Mondays, I take a theme for the week. And with that theme, then I'm talking about it, kind of unpacking that with the audience. And this week's theme is, how are you describing your life? And it's all about, talking about, are we setting ourselves up to create the positive momentum and to have the positive things we want to happen? Or if we're describing our life in a way that is, well, things are always going wrong and everybody's always mad at me. And if we're talking in this way, we are manifesting that because our our thoughts really do, how we think is what we're telling our brain over and over and over again. And that's creating our reality. And so in looking at this and putting this information out there live online and on our shows, we want to share whatever that message is that we're trying to get across to the audience. My message tends to be about what I just shared.
Yeah, I mean, it's mostly a positive message, isn't it? Because what we're trying to do is three things: educate, entertain, and inform. And if we can do those three things in a show, then that's the win, because that's what we're trying to do. If you get carried away with the negative side of things, then you're not doing those three, and you're doing 2 out of 3. And it's the entertaining part that it's all about. I mean, you need to be reaching out beyond the screen and actually getting people involved in what's going on.
Exactly. I agree.
Yeah. And the other side to this is when you're describing yourself online, which part of your life are you describing? Which part of your life do you put forward? People can only see you as you are now. Yeah. They don't know your history. It's your choice as to how much of your history you actually tell people about. Yeah. Now, most of us do that not chronologically, but the way we do it within our shows is by referring to instance in our
Mm-hmm.
life. So, Guy and I were talking earlier about Stonehenge, and he was saying that he can remember, he vividly remembers going to Stonehenge and touching the stones and everything. And we know from that Guy's visited England. The things that are inferred in the story that are being told.
Yes. I wish I was touching the stones at Stonehenge. Now I'm jealous. That would be wonderful. What's Christopher saying? The power of video is limitless. That is absolutely true. Very powerful. Very powerful. And with what you were saying, as far as how much we share, and that is true. And what I know, what I try to do, and I feel that you do this as well, and you're very good at it, is if we are talking about something in our life, we're pulling the lesson from whatever it is we learned,
Truly.
and we're sharing that lesson out with people because we've moved through a challenge or a situation, and we share it in that way to help them. You do that a lot with what you're doing online as far as doing live video and new programs that you're testing out and new software that you're testing out. And you have some kind of lessons that you learn from different software, right?
Oh yeah. We're always learning, and there's the good and the bad. But we tend to concentrate on the good things because we want people to actually enjoy what we're talking about and actually go and use the software. We're told that, well, most software is good. There isn't
Yes.
software that's bad. Let's say that. And the thing to do is to emphasize the good side of it. I mean, we're lucky today. I mean, I was just going to go back to a story earlier today.
Oh, good.
Okay, where it was a BeLive.tv show, and I was hosting it, and Linda West, who we'll be live with next week, is in San Diego, but she was traveling
Yes.
north, and she came in from the car, and she was able to share where she was, and it was all a positive thing. But I think the thing I'm heading towards is that we're global, because Linda was in the car, Nazim was in Italy, and Guy was, I think he's on the East Coast. I probably got that wrong, but we're all trying to share we're all trying to share a positive story, and tell our stories, and yeah, I just enjoy storytelling, and it can be about software, it can be about systems, it can be about people, it can be about incidents that have happened.
Absolutely.
Because the longer you've been here, the more stories you have to tell. But you wouldn't tell every single story, would you?
No, you wouldn't tell every single story. And one thing, that pops into my mind is I do think of the law of attraction because I talk about that a lot as far as, what it is that we're sharing out is attracting that type of energy, and that's what we're attracting back to ourselves. And so there's something I speak about. I'm just going to throw this out here. I'm not sure if it applies or
Okay,
not, but
go.
it came into my head as we're talking about this. There's a term that I speak about a lot called woundology. It's woundology, speaking of your wounds all the time and talking about your wounds all the time and bonding with people over wounds. And I do understand that this happens. And so sometimes in putting our information out there online, if we tend to speak this woundology mode, and then attracting people, uh, this is attracting people more in a not a positive way, because it's trying to bond with them over their wounds versus bond with someone over strength, how we move through a situation, and how now we're on the other side of it, and that is really bonding with strength. And this term woundology, I talk about it a lot with people who say, "Oh, I met my soulmate," and his wife cheated on him, and my husband cheated on me, and we have all this stuff to talk about, and sometimes that works, and sometimes it doesn't. But coming together like that, if you choose to move through that situation together in a positive way, then you have something to talk about and share, and maybe share on a story online, like we're talking about here, to help other people that might be in that situation. But if you tend to just swim around in the pain of being cheated on, and you don't move through it, then eventually you kind of work apart from that person, because neither one of you are helping each other's wounds. And that's what you're looking for. You're not really looking to heal. And so I don't know, that just popped into my head and I wanted to share it. It's probably way off topic.
Well, it's easier to bond with someone, pair with someone, when it's centered around positive things,
Yes.
because you can revisit the things that brought you together without feeling pain. Whereas
Yes.
if what you built is built on a foundation of pain, then just makes it more difficult, doesn't it? It makes it
Well,
more
and
difficult.
that's a good point, because then you're bringing up the pain, like the only conversation maybe that you can have is about pain. So that's good. Yeah. And then I'm trying to remember off the top of my head. There was something you and I were talking about in the green room before we came here, and I was like, "Yes, Stephen, that was a really good point." And I'm not sure what that was right now.
Okay, we're good. We're good. What is it not good to share online?
Well,
Things that we talked about.
you know, I and this I'm just repeating a few things that I've heard, because I haven't really witnessed this too much about with people that I watch online, but I've heard people discussing this, and maybe you can help me to see if you've had people discussing this, where
Okay.
people are going online live and they're just doing anything willy-nilly, and then just saying, "Well, oh well, that's just me. Oh well, that's just me." And maybe it's not really even applying to what their subject is. They're, maybe there's just chaos going on, and they're just like, well, this is just my life. And um,
Yeah.
rather than being more organized with whatever it is the show's about. I've heard that lately, like a little too much of that. Have
Well,
you?
you said also when we were discussing, there are a lot of people on live streaming doing strange things, And it has to be said, there are. Can you think of any examples? And while you do that, I'll say that just being me, you can't help but be yourself on live video. If you're writing a
Right.
blog or you're doing a podcast, then people can't see you. They can't see your expression. You can't sort of emote like as you can on live video. So that being the case, you've got to be careful in the way you actually do it. And just being you, well, you want to be the 20% that you want people to see, not the 80% that you're keeping below the desk.
Right.
Bring out your best points rather than dwelling on the problems, and stay away from politics.
Oh,
Or
that's a good one, Christopher. Yeah.
especially in the UK and the US, I would guess, to an extent.
Right, because we're trying to speak to, I mean, unless that's what your show's about, but I mean, if that's what your show's about, I guess that's what you would talk about. Otherwise, but I'm talking about strange things like, okay, it's not time to blow my nose right now. It's just
Oh,
it's just not the time to blow my nose and say, well, Stephen, that's just me. I had to blow my nose, so I did it.
so etiquette more now, isn't it? This is
Yes,
it. This is things not to do when you're live. So we're going to start with blowing your nose, because you can actually go down off screen and come back on screen. That would be good.
absolutely.
And say hello to Cheryl, who's joined us.
Hi, Cheryl.
Brilliant.
How are you doing? Good to see you.
What we're talking about, Cheryl, is how you're describing your life online. And we've got to the point where there are a lot of people doing strange things on live streaming. So we're just making a hit list of things that you shouldn't actually do when you're live streaming. And Cheryl's first addition to that list was, I just want to repeat that
For Cheryl, I said, well,
yeah.
this is just not the time that I should be saying, Stephen, I have to blow my nose. And I just do it right here, um, live online. Because, I can get off camera, I can take off my mic, and I can go do that. But there's so many people that are just doing willy nilly whatever and then saying, well,
Yeah.
that's me and I had to do that. So I just did it. I mean, there's other things that that are a little more graphic to talk about that I've heard. But
Yeah. We have we both well before the watershed,
yeah.
and Cheryl is just popping in to
Oh,
say
yes.
hi. Nice to see you, Cheryl. Yeah, I mean, this the second thing. This is this to me is a definite no. If you're on live video, and I'm only saying this, and I won't name names,
Mhm.
you should not start eating while you're broadcasting. You might well enjoy the sandwich, the burger, the chips, the fries, whatever you're eating. You may be enjoying it, but I can tell you that the people who are watching you live on video eating, unless you're taking part in an eating contest, will not appreciate watching somebody eat on camera. It's just the most, well, it's yuck.
Well, I agree. And that's kind of that was my thought. Yeah, Cheryl saying, haha, I love that, Cheryl. But yeah, that's my thought of that. What is it that we're trying to push out to the world? Because we're pushing this out to the world. And is that what you want the world to see you doing, eating on camera? I mean, unless it's, a food tasting show or something.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
so
if you're doing a cooking show, then it's in context, isn't it?
it
You cook the
is.
dish, you do the demonstration, and afterwards you have a taste of it,
Hmm.
and then you put the dish on one side and carry on talking. But if you actually come on and it's lunchtime and you eat your lunch, and that's right, Cheryl's saying proper etiquette is so important in the
Well,
online world as well as the real world.
it is, absolutely. And so that was kind of my thought, of unpacking those strange things that I'm seeing online or that I hear about. I don't see it so much as I hear about it when other people are talking on shows about things that they're seeing. And so I just thought it was a neat subject for you and I to bring up in
Yeah.
talking about how are you describing your life?
Be your best birthday, matter what.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I mean, we should be on our best behaviour. I mean, cussing and swearing's out, isn't it? You can't come on, well, unless you're actually running one of those shows that Cheryl and I never see.
You
Uh,
don't see it. So yeah, but absolutely. And just we're all professionals. And I think most of the people who are out here live streaming and and doing something to try to help the world, they have a business that they're running and they're putting themselves out there. So yes, they're going to be in, well, I don't like to say business mode because I don't look at myself as being in business mode. I'm just here and I'm talking and I'm sharing. And so, but I'm not sharing things that I shouldn't be sharing that have to do with my business and what I'm trying to push out to the world.
that's it. You've got to compartmentalize things. And there are things that you can bring to a live broadcast, all the positive things. And there are problems which you've got to go back to afterwards. But during the show, and Charles clarifying, I meant to say be on your best behavior. And we both agree with that.
Absolutely.
And Krista was saying, I always stop selling and start educating. That gives more sales. Now, this is the key, this is one of the keys, isn't it? Because this all goes down.
That's a good one. Yes.
That's a good one. We like that. This live video is quite probably the best way to network there's ever been. It's the best way to actually meet people, and you want people to see you in a good light. So therefore, you do have to be, as Cheryl said, on your best behaviour, and know that everything that we're doing now live is actually recorded and it's going to go out everywhere afterwards. It's going to go onto a blog, it's going to go onto YouTube, and anything that we say during it is going to be there. So you're not just saying it for now. It's not like an Instagram story where it disappears after a day.
Or a watch party. They disappear, don't they?
They disappear too. So
Yeah.
you've got to take more care with live video because you've got, oh, right. And we say hello, as Cheryl says hello to Dale. Hello, Dale.
Hi, Dale. I didn't know Dale was on. Hi, Dale.
That's good. So I think what we're saying is do everything with good humor. Yeah. And
Yes,
appreciate
but I'd like to go back to Christopher's comment because when he was saying about, stop selling and start educating, because if you're coming on and doing a live broadcast and then you're really coming at people just trying to push, sell, that you're whatever it is the best in the world, that's, kind of really going to turn people off. They're not really coming on to be sold. They're coming on to watch a broadcast, to learn something, or to be entertained. Correct?
Totally correct. Totally correct. And just catching up with the comments, Charlie is saying be genuine and authentic. Yes, big yes to that from yes,
big yes.
Yes. And just go back to Christopher. Christopher's saying the most blocking emotion is to be yourself.
The most blocking emotion is to be yourself. Okay, I'm trying to. Christopher,
all right, okay.
Give us
a bit of a clarification here. Christopher is saying I'm teaching, attract, educate, and convert.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I understand that, and because whomever is watching whatever it is that your show is, Christopher, that's what they're there for. Just like with me, when people come on to watch heart-mind conversations, well, that's what they're there for. They're there to see what's the theme of the week and what are we going to unplug and how's Cheryl going to help us out with our week.
Indeed. And for that, you've got to be genuine. You've got to be open, and you've got to reach out to people and sort of pull them into watching the show. And I think the brilliant thing is when we actually meet new people when we're broadcasting, because that's the other thing, that what we don't know is we don't know who's watching, so we don't know who we're making a first impression on. We've no idea.
Well, that's true.
Every moment that we're actually live, somebody new could come along, and whatever they hear us say in the first 10, 15 seconds, they're going to judge us by.
Mm-hmm.
So therefore, you do want to be, and I'm going to keep going back to this.
So hopefully no one new popped in when I said I'm going to blow my nose.
Oh, that would have been good. That would have been good if they'd seen the edited version of that. Just a very short clip. Yeah, just go back to Cheryl saying, "Be on your best behaviour," because that's the best thing you can do.
Absolutely.
Okay, now we're going to do a joint advertisement here. Excuse us for a moment.
Okay.
Well, why not? We're here, and we've got friends watching. Just to say that Cheryl and I are part of the 5 Days Live team, and we are live next week on BeLive.tv, Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. in the UK, and we'll be talking about all things live broadcasting. And our friends with us are RJ Redden, Linda West, Brigitte Limbanda, David Burrows, Annie Mura, and
David?
You have to wait. David Burrows, yeah. You'll have to wait and see. There are 8 of us in total, and Alfredo's here, and Alfredo missed 24 minutes. Now, this would not be crucial normally, Alfredo, because on my shows, we run for an hour, but Cheryl's shows run for 30 minutes. So what we've decided on is that 30 minutes is good. So
hi, Alfredo. Yeah, hi, Alfredo. Catch the replay, please.
Yeah, Cheryl is talking about show promotion with RJ and Brigitte next Friday. And if you want to watch that, then just follow the red logo, 5 Days Live. And we're looking forward to that week because we had a blast in August, didn't we?
Yeah, it was so much fun. And so many people joining us live and just putting in such wonderful comments and suggestions. It was great. I loved it.
Yeah, it was. I mean, it's sort of, if you took 4 individual shows and combined them with the feel of the show was just totally different, totally with something we've not experienced before, because we had the situation where we had quite a lot of viewers, and we were able to actually run the comments at the same time, so it was totally interactive. Everybody's getting involved. The comments were going through. I was fortunate. I was sat in the production suite, as they call it, and I was able to watch the comments and everything, and it just whizzed by. So we're hoping for the same next week, and we start on Monday at 10 a.m. Eastern.
Yes.
Right. Okay. Now we're getting close to the end of the show, so I'm going to hand over to Cheryl to summarize and take us.
I introduced the show, Steven. Why don't you take us out?
We swapped roles this week. You see, that's
it.
If you're going to be live, you've got to be adaptable and change. So what I'd like to say to everybody who's watched the show and commented live, especially Christopher and Cheryl and Alfredo, and to everybody who's watched live and not commented, we're enjoying doing this show. We're enjoying talking to you about topics which matter. And Chris was saying, thanks for an amazing show. Well, thank you, because you make the show. It's the involvement that makes the show, and we're having a blast. We will be back, and our regular time is 1 p.m. Eastern on Thursday. So from Wiltshire in England and from
Washington, D.C. in the U.S.,
we say goodbye. Take care. Have a great weekend, and we'll see you again soon. Bye.
See you.
Bye. Oh, neat. And that's a wrap.